Hello everyone, I'm Gordon Bonus for Daily Xtra, and I'm here with Andrew Murphy. Hi Andrew, thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So help us make sense of this big beast that is the Toronto International Film Festival. Give us your insights on what are the queer offerings this year.
I think it's a good year for kind of LGBT crossover films into the mainstream market. Like we saw earlier this year with Ira Sachs' Love is Strange. TIFF will be premiering The Imitation Game.
If you speak a word of what I'm about to show you, you will be executed for high treason.
It's beautiful. It's the greatest encryption device in history, and the Germans use it for all communications.
Everyone thinks Enigma is unbreakable.
The Imitation Game is about Alan Turing, who decoded the Enigma code during World War II. So he became famous for that, but then the British government later persecuted him and prosecuted and castrated him for being a homosexual, when at that time it was illegal.
You've got more secrets than the best of them.
What if I don't fancy her in that way?
Can't tell anyone else.
It should be a very intense and interesting piece of, I think, of our queer history that's finally getting told into and brought into a mainstream audience.
And then there's another film I think we should talk about, which is the British film Pride. Do you want to bring that one in?
Yeah, Pride had its world premiere in Cannes earlier this year and won the Queer Palm. And it is in the vein of a full Monty, sort of a UK films that everybody loves. But this is really a really interesting and peculiar story about a queer activist group decide to get on board and help striking miners during Margaret Thatcher's reign in 1984.
Mining communities are being bullied just like we are. We raised this money because we want to help you.
Everything will be all right once they start to mix.
What I was told about lesbians can't be true, can they? You're all vegetarians.
The Mavericks are always really fascinating to me when they do that. Those kind of sessions. So I mean, I think Dan Savage is connected to one documentary, Do I Sound Gay?
With a whole slew of big names attached to it, like Margaret Cho and Tim Gunn and David Sedaris.
David Thorpe, the filmmaker, and Dan Savage will do a conversation afterwards, and the doc is about the filmmaker himself having anxiety about being accused of sounding gay.
I've been uncomfortable with the way that I've sounded for years, but it's like there's nothing I can do about it.
If I could sound more masculine, I definitely would. It's not a choice to sound gay.
Is that what I sound like?
There's some other very politically charged films.
Yes, Stories of Our Lives, a dramatization of 7 queer stories about oppressed people in Nairobi. This arts collective based in Nairobi have dramatized them, and they've had to do it anonymously for fear of being outed in their own countries.
Pat Mills has his feature directorial debut,
yeah.
And he has a long history with TIFF.
I think his previous shorts have all screened at TIFF and Inside Out as well, and he's been a great ally to the community and just an amazing human being, and he is a friend of mine as well, so been sort of watching him go through this process of shooting the film and getting it locked, and I haven't seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I'd like to introduce you to our brand new guidance counselor.
Can you help me with my shyness?
Let's do a shot.
Okay, so we're on the hunt for more strong female directors. Who else has come up?
Well, there was a film in Cannes called Respire, or Breathe, and it was directed by Melanie Laurent, who's a quite well-known actress. She was in Inglourious Basterds, and she's directed this film about 2 teenage girls that start a very intense friendship, close friendship / relationship.
Et toi? Quoi, moi? Raconte-moi quelque chose, hein? Regarde ce que je t'ai dit depuis tout à l'heure.
I haven't seen the film, so it's one of those ones where you're not quite sure is it actually lesbian or is it kind of that lesbian adjacent where they're just really intense and raucous teenagers who are jealous of each other, and I think it will be something to watch for as an up-and-coming female director. It's always interesting too, I think, when actors become directors too, and they sort of flip the camera around. So
I love that term, lesbian adjacent.
I use it online all the time.
Well, this seems like a good moment to call it quits. So thank you, Andrew, from Inside Out, for giving us your insights.
Thanks a lot.